Hello. Have you been thinking that you would like to get less terrible at chess, but you don't know where to start? You know how the pieces move, but that's about it. You don't know anything about strategy or tactics. You might not even know what a fork is. Well, I will teach you the absolute basics so that when you do go out and start learning from more advanced teachers, you will know what they're talking about. First off, the basic setup of the board is rook, knight, bishop, king, and queen. Queen is always on her color, white queen on the white square, black queen on the black square. The first strategy point is to control the center of the board, these four squares in the middle. Ideally, you do that with two pawns in the center. Next strategy point is to develop your minor pieces. It means getting these pieces involved in the game before playing with the pawns too much. Ideally, what that would be is getting the horses out and then getting the bishops out. Key point when you're starting off is to always see that your pieces are all covered by another piece. So if any of them get taken, somebody is protecting them. Next up, to protect your king, you can castle. What that means is if the king and the castle involved, the rook involved, have not yet moved, you can castle, which means the rook slides over, king jumps to the other side. He's in safety behind a pawn wall. You can also do that on the other side, just like this. Now, once that's all said and done, that's the basics. The last point is as you're developing, move each piece only once, if possible. You don't want to get into a situation where you're dancing a piece around the board, wasting turns, while your opponent is developing. The first tactical point is the pin. The pin means that there's a piece that can't move because if it does, it'll expose a more important piece. The absolute pin is a piece that's protecting the king. This pawn cannot move because if it does, the king is open and is attacked. So in this case, this pawn is pinned. If this bishop comes up, this pawn cannot take it. If he doesn't defend by moving forward, which opens up the rook, if he stays and does not move, this comes along, and that's a checkmate. Because the whole time that pawn was pinned. It could not move. Next up is the skewer, which basically means you have two pieces that are lined up, either on a long or on a diagonal, and you have a piece that's going to take advantage of that. Here with the queen and the rook, this protected rook is going to line up against both of them. If the queen wants to save herself, the rook is lost. You're forcing a piece to be left to be taken. One of the most devastating skewers is the king-queen skewer. The rook moves in, is lined up on both, the king has to move, and you've just taken their queen. Devastating. And finally, we have the dreaded fork. What this means, and here's a classic example in the beginning of a game. When the horse moves here, protected by the bishop, he's attacking at the same time this rook and this queen. He's forking the two pieces. Now, black can save one of the pieces, but the other one is going to fall. Another kind of fork, because that's what the horse is amazing at doing forks. I'll show you a couple more after. But another fork that we don't think of as often is the bishop. This bishop is hitting two pieces. One of them can move to safety, the other cannot. Do you see the fork in this position? Think about it. This horse is attacking the king and the queen. This is the most devastating. There's nothing he can do about it. You are taking the queen. Boom! Forked ya. How about in this position? Bishop protected by the horse. Can't be taken. Putting pressure on the king. King has to move. Once again, the queen is taken. Forked! Well, that's the basics. Strategy and tactics. To get better at strategy, I'll put a link down below for a video that I didn't do, somebody else did, but it's good. It's 35 principles, like controlling the center, like moving your pieces only once, but 35 of them gets you a full idea of the basic principles of strategy. For tactics, the best thing you can do is get onto Chess or chess.com, and there's something called problems, where the board is set up and you've got to find the tactic that works the best to force a take, to force an advantage, or to force a mate. Now you're going to want to do that anyway. The best way to learn, once you get these principles kind of figured out, the strategy and the tactics, get those basics, get onto chess.com, Chess, something like that, and just start playing. They're gonna figure out what your level is with something called it's a ranking or a rating. Some people call it an ELO because that's what they call it for the professional players. But you're going to get your ranking, whether in the beginning it's a 300 or a 400 or whatever, and they're going to play you against other players that are about that same level. And that's how you're going to get better. You're going to beat those players because even if you start out terrible, they're just as terrible as you are. So that's the basics. Just a couple of months ago, I picked up chess again. I had a book that was made for children that I was using for my son. And that's where I learned for the first time the fork, the skewer, a lot of these tactics that are the only way to force an opponent to give you a piece. Otherwise, you're just hoping that they mess up and you can steal one. That's not really how chess works, and that's not the most fun. The most fun is taking a piece. You set them up and you take it. When it's a queen, it's magnificent. And then you win the game. So these are really just the bare bone basics for someone who's thinking about getting back into it and knows how the pieces move, but haven't learned any of these other tactics or strategies. Go out there, learn some chess, go beat some people, have some fun. Anyway, I'm a tiny little channel, and if you could subscribe, that would really help me out, grow the channel, get out there more. We really use a subscription. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit that like button. What else is there? Comments. If there's something I missed that you think is fundamental for learning chess in the beginning, go ahead and put that in the comment section. I would love to hear it. That's all I've got for you. The video's over. You wanted to learn about chess? I talked about chess. That's it. We'll see you.